Welcome to In Search of Catholic School Excellence, the show where we spotlight the programs, people, and practices making a real difference in Catholic education today. If you're a school leader striving to build a community of faith, excellence, and innovation, you've come to the right place. Each episode brings you ideas that are working, stories that inspire, and new possibilities for your school's mission. Let's explore what's working and what's possible.
Welcome back, folks. This week we're joined by Gustavo Torres of Good Shepherd School in Pacifica, California. Welcome, Gustavo. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here.
We've been following you for a while. Of course, we work together, but we've been following the success of the school at Good Shepherd and the turnaround. It seemed like you've probably been there about 4 years.
So this is roughly about kind of 4.5 to year 5. Kind of here very part-time in the beginning and then just transitioned in over here from my previous role.
Yes, and so when you took on this school, it's always been a happy place, one of the most beautiful schools in the country because of where it sits. And one day we'll have to worry about those windows where we want to let the kids daydream looking over the Pacific Ocean. But in the meantime, it was a school, much like many of the schools in the San Francisco Archdiocese, they've been shrinking over the years due to the population size. But it seems that over the time that you've been doing this, that you've actually increased enrollment. And I want to say that you had like 80 new students this year. Is that right?
So pretty close, 76 new students. So yeah, we roughly grew from 143 families to 177, I believe. So it's funny because it's 177 and then 76 new students. So it's all in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of unique in itself. I would say in the last 2 to 3 years, just very targeted enrollment. We've been blessed to be here on the coast that there seems to be an influx of young new families coming down from Pacifica all the way down to Half Moon Bay. And they all commute over to South City and San Francisco. And we're right along that corridor. And yeah, the narrative out there is, the school is not closing. So there was this long narrative that Good Shepherd was on its way out. And initially when I came on board here, it was to assist the previous principal, had some health issues and it was COVID time. And so just kind of assisting with day-to-day when people were out of the office. And then kind of just things changed. And the superintendent at the time, Pam Lyons, felt that we needed to keep a presence here and saw, I guess, in her crystal ball, she saw there were families coming in and there was an investment here. I mean, there was a strong community here, even though the enrollment was quite small. So, I mean, like when I started, we were at 153 students enrolled and class sizes were pretty small. And I know that families love the small class sizes. They love the small class sizes, but when you're paying, $8,000 or $9,000 a year for 12 in a class, and you still need to have a full staff and just regular operational expenses, it's not, that's actually quite precarious. You can have 10 to 15 students at $30,000 as a student. That could be helpful. And that's what a lot of the independent schools in San Francisco kind of are geared at. And so working with families and then, there was a really dedicated staff here, and the operational model that we introduced was kind of more similar to a high school. So, my initial role here was site administrator. We brought in the retired previous principal because she knew the community very well. And then we had Melly Mortensen in here as well as the part-time academic administrator, because my background was more business and fundraising and development. Some academic, but my background was more business administration. And then in between, beginning here as site administrator and now being principal, I was lucky enough to receive an Archdiocesan Educator Incentive Grant and got my master's from the University of Notre Dame in theology with an emphasis on Catholic ed. So, I mean, it kind of all came to fruition. I mean, Melly is no longer with us. She's over at Corpus Christi in Piedmont. Now that's her children's school. And so she's principal there. And our amazing vice principal, who is our middle school science teacher, Mrs. Jill Demerjian, is now the vice principal. And the two of us run the school. Since I began in 2021, our enrollment has now grown to 239 students. So,
Wow.
Average class size going from 12 to 15 to now 28 to 30. And I am, that the community has expressed their concern that, they don't necessarily like the bigger class sizes, but they get it because with those larger class sizes, we've brought back every single enrichment program that was here before the pandemic. So our language program, we have Spanish, we have Salesian Academy that offers a wonderful robotics and technology program to grades 4 through 8. And we have the music program, which is choir, and we have other technology. And so I'm really excited though that Salesian, like you guys have been building up that robotics. So it's been fun.
I mean, it's been a fun place to be. And I think that's one of the things that, as you mentioned, you have a different model. So that's number one. So that already sticks out as being something that, maybe is different, and maybe it's replicable, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
But also the fact that there seems to be a lot of, as you mentioned, you brought back all the enrichment programs, but you've also brought back, I think, some of that spirit, that fun.
Yeah.
And that it seems like we're always getting these pictures of the school off on one trip or another trip, and
Yeah.
that comes with the bigger class sizes, allows for you to do more things. How have you tapped into that? What's the culture been like? You said you had a strong community to begin with. How have you built that?
So, and I think that one thing that I, always repeat, and I know I sound crazy. Well, there's two things that I always repeat. I always say all will be well, St. Julian of Norwich, but also we really try to instill a sense of joy, wonder, and curiosity. And I think we've gone crazy about that. So I mean, like in the most positive way that we can. I think that this, with the staff and the parents, if we're curious about something, we really do try to investigate and try to bring that and try to just manifest this community of lifelong learners. Another thing that we were really blessed about here at Good Shepherd is that, so in my previous role at the Department of Catholic Schools, working in development and working with donors and things like that, I didn't poach, but several heard that I was down here at Good Shepherd, and several of these donors already were supporting the school. And just kind of, they asked me questions as to like what I envision, what I see. And we kind of changed the narrative. Like, we have this long-term plan. We had to put a lot of money. I mean, I was very honest. We had to do a lot of deferred maintenance. I mean, it is wonderful. Like, I'm looking at the ocean right now. There's no fog. The whales have been swimming the last few days. So it's been really cool. But there's just a lot of deferred maintenance. And it was so wonderful when the parents heard that and the donors heard that, we really got our heads together. We were able to paint the facility. We replaced all of the rotting decks. We have done 2 bathroom renovations. We have, working with you on the infrastructure really needed to be updated, moving that around, and on just new hotspots, updated Chromebooks. Last year, we replaced all of the microscopes, and I think there's just this constant, I don't mean to always go out and ask everybody for money, but I don't have a problem doing it because that's what I've always done. And so one thing that we do a little differently here at Good Shepherd is so for example, Grandparents' Day is going to be this Friday. And in many Catholic schools around the country, Grandparents' Day tends to be a part, well, at least here in the Archdiocese, tends to be a part of Catholic Schools Week. It's like that Friday, or it's one of those days. So, but we're actually having Grandparents' Day this Friday. Through the generosity of an amazing donor, we have what's called Lifelong Learner Day, and that's the Friday of Catholic Schools Week. And that is where the entire school, K through 8, with 65 chaperones and the entire staff, we all go on a field trip together. Wow. And mind you, it's educational based. So the first year we took everybody to the California Academy of Sciences. The second year we took everybody to the Oakland Zoo. Last year we took everybody to the Tech Interactive in San Jose. And this year, it's just, now that we've grown so big, I've had places tell us, oh, we can't accommodate you because you're too large. I wanted to take the whole school to the Chabot Space and Science Center, but they just won't accommodate a group so large. And so we're not, 239 is not, it's not that big, but it's big when you're going to one place. So we're looking at the Lawrence Hall of Science. We're looking at the Exploratorium. We were even thinking possibly going to Angel Island, but just the logistics with that might be a little bit more difficult, might go beyond the sponsorship, but we're just looking at things like that. And that's another thing too, is that here, being on the coast, a lot of these field trips have to be very targeted because we're not we're not it's not like being in San Francisco. Like, my elementary school, I went to Mission Dolores School. We were in the middle of the city. We got on the J. We were downtown. It was different. We rode the bus. But here, I'm not really into parent drivers and chaperones. So
Right.
I kind of pull from my high school friends. And we have a charter bus company that gives us a pretty good discount. But of course, it's still quite expensive. So
Yeah.
we figured out a way to fundraise and put in the registration fee that every classroom has 2 free buses to go
Wow.
wherever they want, but it has to be very targeted. It has
Yeah.
to align with what we're doing and with the standards and that particular curriculum. Like, for example, the 7th grade, because of a great partnership with the San Francisco Giants, the 7th grade homeroom teacher is also our middle school math teacher, Mr. Lucido. He takes the students to San Francisco Giants does a wonderful statistic lesson, and you learn all about baseball stats and this, that, and the other. It's a private tour, and then they stay for a ball game, and it's wonderful. Like, 4th grade, they go down to the Marine Science Institute. They're on a boat and on the bay, learning about all of the animals that come in. And then we do have some in-school field trips. So like the Marine Science Institute has also sent like little aquarium field trips that have come here to school. We are lucky enough to that same donor to sponsor the Try It truck through the Bay Area Discovery Museum. And it's grades K-5. It's here at school. It's basically, it's like they recreated this taco truck, and it's a mobile STEM lab. So it's a maker space, and the children tinker and they love it. And so that's kind of where that field trip's coming up October the 17th. It's a Friday. But little did the children know is that we're having a student appreciation day that day as well, to kind of welcome us to the fall. And whenever we have a special surprise, it's Mr. Softy. So it's the children's soft serve. And the reason why we chose Mr. Softy is that in terms of dietary needs, they're able to accommodate us. And so, because we were trying to do the Hawaiian shaved ice, but then red dye number 40 and all this, that, and the other. It's like, oh no, we're just going to keep it simple with Mr. Softy. But like, again, it's the sense of joy, wonder, and curiosity. Like we have our 2nd annual hoedown coming up next Friday. We're going to be in the Fog Festival Parade. Our annual Halloween Fall Fest is coming up October. I mean, there's a lot of things that we try to do to really keep the community that we have. And like, again, I basically, being in the Department of Catholic Schools, I heard wonderful stories about what schools were doing to kind of create community. But like, and I also, being in the Department of Catholic Schools, I also learned things that didn't also work out. So I try to stay away from things that wouldn't get really good return. But also like, just in my role and just in the programs and the people that I've worked with, I just kind of saw things that worked that I remembered as a child, and then just kind of have replicated it. So one thing that we do here at Good Shepherd, and again, it's not anything that different than anybody else does, is that every student gets a postcard every summer, and it's addressed directly to the student, and it just welcomes them to the new year. And that's what we're really trying to harness here at Good Shepherd, is that we are one shepherd, one flock, whether it's in the classroom or it's on the basketball court or whichever. So it's just, we're doing this. I mean, and I want the students to miss and love school so much it hurts. And they do. So in the summertime, the kids were coming over and like, what are you doing here? They're like, well, we just missed it. And I'm like, oh, hi. I mean, it's just, it's things like that. I mean, and then and the parent community has been amazing. We raised a lot of money to replace the student playground structure. It was a $77,000 investment. I think that's the key, is that we really include, and so we try to include all stakeholders on these massive projects. And again, we talk real talk too, like, hey, things are going to cost money, and hey, living in the Bay Area is expensive, and we want to try our hardest to pay our teachers a living wage to work and live here. And then also, I mean, what we're so blessed about here at Good Shepherd too is that all of the teachers send their children to the school. So I think that's a testament to what we kind of have here, because that's not the norm and that's not the usual. And then I work really hard with the faculty and staff to make sure that like, your kids come here, but like also know that if anything were to come up, I'm gonna work with whatever happens, because preferential treatment, this, that, and the other, or they're going to get made fun of, this, that. And there isn't, we don't have that kind of environment here. At least I don't think that we do. And I haven't heard that we do. And again, we want everyone here to thrive. And I am not the type of person to just accept a student just for the finances. Our program is not necessarily for everyone, but we work with and that's another thing. Now that we have larger enrollment, we have a resource person on staff that's a reading resource, and then we have a math resource person on staff. We did a big investment to bring algebra back into the 8th grade curriculum. So all of the 8th graders will take Algebra 1. So going into high school, they'll have that first year of algebra, and hopefully they'll be able to take Algebra 2 in that first year of high school, or go right into geometry. But those are and that was an expensive investment, but it was an investment that was important, because through our high school partners, and that's what I love with our Catholic high school partners, is that they invite the principals and the staff over for coffee and talking. They talk about what do we need to do to prepare our students so that they can thrive successfully at your school. Sarah High School did this wonderful thing where we just had this back and forth as to what should we do, what should the students be doing, and that's how we knew. And also, the parents did ask for it at Good Shepherd, but that's how we knew to switch into that algebra model. And
very cool.
So far it's been successful. Sacred Heart Cathedral invites over. Sacred Heart Prep Atherton just invited. All the high schools are starting to really. Mercy Burlingame always invites. Our students participate in the middle school science fair. San Mateo County does this wonderful county science fair, but our students, particularly our female students, are more excited about the Mercy Burlingame, their science fair. And it's just it's things like that. They're doing an art contest. And so our art teacher is working to try to get those entries ready so that they can submit it for the fall, so that it can show up in January. But that's the thing here. It's Good Shepherd, there's always something going on. It's very busy. It's very busy.
Well, it's good to hear that the high schools are getting involved, because I think that's one of those things where it's one thing just to invite the kids over, hey, come check out how awesome we are. But if you're actually building a partnership and having real discussions about what's going to be successful, that means the high schools are investing in their elementary schools. And so that is a great thing, especially when we're starting to see what happened to the high schools, 30 years ago is now potentially happening to the elementary schools. And so if there's going to be some schools that survive, it's going to be the ones that are working together, ideally, and building something cool. I think you've highlighted a couple things that are really interesting. One, the connection into the community, whether you're expanding the audience and just, putting Good Shepherd students in the community, but also reaching out. A lot of these things, it sounds like Good Shepherd just writes checks for things, but that's not true. It's actually using all of the connections that the parents have, that the community has, the alumni that you've had from previous lives, that you can then create an experience that is amazing for the students, but not necessarily 100% coming out of those dollars. And so, you can save here and there and you can still have a great experience. I think that's something that's missed. There's a lot of opportunity within your own community to build cool things, to make relationships happen, to make events happen, and not have it kill you.
Something that the athletics program is run directly by the school. It's not run by the parish. So something that we always do is we always highlight our 8th graders as they go on to high school. So there's a lovely ceremony at the last home game per season. So this past May, our athletic director, Mrs. Lataraka, partnered with the Valkyries. So our senior night was at a Valkyries game. They did the whole tunnel thing. They met the team, and then they all got us really affordable tickets. So we had a group of over 100 of us from Good Shepherd, and it was a fun Valkyries night. Oh, and they won. And it was one of their first games. And it was wonderful because it was also women empowerment as well. The students, I still hear them talk about it, and they're like, well, when is our next one going to happen? I'm like, oh my God. I don't know. Now that they made the playoffs and they're doing well, I'm sure that things are going to be more costly. But exactly, that's the exact point. The children's choir, Father Swan expressed, he's like, it'd be great that the kids sing. So 2 parents every Wednesday started, Kimberly Kroll started and Les when they de Souza, they started meeting every Wednesday, and the choir was there, and then the priest retirement luncheon for the last 2 years, that a donor paid for a bus. They all went and they sang, and you'd think they were at Carnegie Hall or something. Like the kids still talk about it, like they love it. And Father Swan was all excited because they were there. It's these experiences, and it's experiential. I mean, mind you, academics are going on and they're very strong here, but you work hard and you play hard, and I very much believe in that model. And it's just that amount of exposure, and if you continuously hit that exposure, so that by the time you go into high school, you kind of know what you like and what you don't like, and then when you go to college, you will hopefully have a focus so that you can eventually do what you're passionate about. I think that's the overall theme of what we're trying to do. And again, I love it. I love hearing back from the alums. This past Sunday, we had our family mass, and it was packed. We ran out of communion, which is the second time it's ever happened at school. So Father was excited, but we had all these alums that were there, and they were just so happy to be back. And so Father's talking about like starting a youth group, and I'm like, okay, we'll figure that part out next. I mean, so like baby steps, but like the community's here and they just want to be fed. And so it's just making sure that we have enough food to feed everyone.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. You got to listen. I mean, it's, and oftentimes with administrators, you get kind of stuck between, what families want and what you're able to provide and what makes sense for the parish and all these different factors. But when you can get together and you can get on the same page, it's amazing what can be done. And it seems like that vision is happening. Like the families are enjoying it. It seems like the faculty is happy to be there. The parish is happy that you're there and not just looking to get rid of you to, sell off the land.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's all kind of working in the right direction. And that theme, remind me, it's joy, curiosity, and
joy, wonder, and curiosity.
Joy, wonder, and curiosity.
That's what it is. And like, for example, I mean, post-COVID, so a tradition here for like the last 15 or 16 years is the 8th grade class goes to the East Coast. So they fly into Boston, Salem, New York, spend the day in Philadelphia, and then the rest of the week in Washington, D.C. That's a trip that they do. It's a longer trip. So it's a full 7 days, where it's not 5, where a lot of our neighboring Catholic schools here on the peninsula, they just go to DC. Theirs is very much close up. This is like living history. They see a Broadway show. The company we work with a company called World Strides. It's like a $3,000 trip. So we were trying to figure out different ways and like, okay, how are we going to make this more affordable? We eliminated our whole Friday lunch option, and the 8th grade families, they have to know. So it's hosted by them.
Wow.
Pizza Fridays. Last year alone, Pizza Fridays brought in $30,000. So that was able to accommodate all of those students. So, I mean, it didn't pay for their whole trip, but it subsidized a big part of their trip.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, little things like that. And I love that the parents are willing to partner with us in doing things. I mean, like, cause like $30,000 for lunch would be amazing if the school did it alone, but like, it's for the kids. It's again, and at the end of the day, whenever we get a grant or whenever we run into, an amount of money, it goes right back into the programming. Father's subsidies that have come from the parish have gone right back into the programming for the students, so that again, so we can afford enrichment, so that we can afford to get 25 new Chromebooks because we have so many more students. But so like
that's great. Okay, so with this, all the things that we've heard today, let's imagine somebody out here that's listening is a new principal or in a different situation and looking to step in this path. Like, I like what I'm hearing. I want to build more, get our tentacles out into the community and build more of a culture outside of what's already there. What might be some of those baby steps, first thing that somebody might be able to do?
I think it'd be one of the reasons why it really works here at Good Shepherd is that the pastor and the principal, we're lockstep. It's a very strong relationship. And again, Father doesn't always agree with what we do. And I don't know, I mean, not that he doesn't agree. We get it. And it's just being and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and just saying, Father, these are the priorities of the school, and this is what we need. How can we partner with you to assist you in your vision of what you have for the parish? Because at the end of the day, we're the biggest apostolate of the parish. So how do we harness in making sure that the parish is alive and well, being very much interwoven within that. And then also, again, secondarily, with the faculty. I don't think that I'm a dictator. I have an open door policy. I meet with all of the faculty members, but I ask them, like, so we have like a whole wish list. Like, what do we envision? What do we want? Or, what is a field trip that you want to do? What is something that you think we could do? What is a spirit day that we could focus on, or something like that? I really work with Father not as much as the faculty on what are some things of fun that we can do, because I mean, Father loves fun, but like it's a little bit of a different context when you have mass and what you're doing with that. I mean, Father does a wonderful, successful September Fest that he does all the dancing, and Father loves to have First Friday karaoke as well as First Friday adoration. But like, that's something that he's harnessed with the community. He worked with our eighth grade graduating parents this past year. They did a whole mission trip to the Philippines. They went to Cebu, and they got the whole school involved. They asked for toiletries, they asked for clothing. And it was this whole big thing where the school came together. Father has his partner with the Missionaries of Charity. So during Lent and Advent, after Mass, so one class will stay in and do the rosary or adoration, and then the other class will go into the gym and prepare lunches. So, they prepare sandwiches, bags of chips, fruit, and a drink. They put it in a bag, and then the Missionaries of Charity take it out to the Tenderloin or out to their food service in the Mission District in San Francisco. So it's a way to like kind of course, incorporate service, but like also make it fun, make the children think that it's beyond themselves. And I just figured out a way to really empower the faculty to like, what do we want to do, or what should we do as a group? And like, everybody has their input. It is hard because you kind of can't do everything that you want to do, but like, there's very low hanging fruit that you could really take advantage of. And especially because people have connections. It's like, well, I know somebody here, and I know somebody there. Like, Grocery Outlet Bargain Market here in Pacifica is a wonderful sponsor. Former family here now at Sacred Heart Cathedral, the Chews, they do great work with us, and they sponsor everything. And so it's just things like that. I know that it's hard because a lot of principals, you go into the role, and Catholic elementary principals in particular, it literally is you. You have a support staff and a team, but like in the high school, you have a president, you have a principal, you have an assistant dean, you have an assistant principal, and then there's just several departments and several offices, whereas as in the elementary school, it really is you. So I think that I'm successful in what I do because I have a group of friends that are also principals, and we bounce ideas back and forth, and we hang out a lot. And that's how that's another form of collaboration that I have. And then, hey, this worked well really here, this didn't work well here. And so it's just always talking and debrief. We debrief and have some fun. And it's just like, I think I never thought that I would be an elementary school principal. I always loved school.
Yeah.
But it, it's been fun. It doesn't really feel like a job. I'm just basically like a big kid with here at school. And,
well, we can see the value of being on the same page. It sounds like your whole community is on the same page, and you guys are working towards something bigger and beautiful. So I appreciate you sharing part of that story with us.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that folks will reach out to you if they wanted to get a hold of you. The school's website is
Good Shepherd School.us, and Shepherd is SHEPHERD.
right. One of the longest school websites that we work with.
My word, yes. and it was redesigned by Salesian Academy, and it'll go through a redesign by Salesian Academy quite soon.
Those folks are good.
Those folks are great. No, I love it. I love our partnership, and I think it's great. I love, for the most part, like I think like we've been able to really get everything done. There's like two things that I want to do for that gym that I know that you guys gave us a good quote, and I just gotta find that donor to get that presentation screen and that updated audio visual, and I think that's gonna really pop in there. But yeah.
Well, great. Well, when that time comes, we'll be ready.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you, Gustavo. I appreciate your time today. I know we've gone a little bit overboard, but I just feel like we've tapped into the well of what's going on at Good Shepherd, and hopefully folks will listen to this and find some inspiration to do some things at their school, but also just to, know that the work is worth it. You're eventually going to get to the place where you want to be. So,
Yeah. Joy, wonder, and curiosity.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on In Search of Catholic School Excellence. We hope you heard something inspiring or something you'd like to try at your own school. Please share this episode and leave a review to help others find us. To see how we can support your journey toward excellence, visit ilovemytechteam.com. Until next time, celebrate what's working and keep reaching for what's possible.